The Ellwood City Wolverines stood alone at the pinnacle of high school football, WPIAL champions. Wolverine fans paid dearly for their short-lived glimpse of glory as Ellwood City stood 40 years of frustration. Jim Rankin arrived on the scene in 1979 and began putting the pieces back together. The inspired leader focused on the job ahead and disregarded the rubble left behind.
He really taught us how to play together, especially this year. We really came together as a team, and that all stemmed from him.
He's taught me to look at adversity in the face and not let it bother me during any game, and he really gets me prepared for when I'm ready to go out on the field.
He's one of the most intense people I've ever met in my life, and it was a real enjoyment playing for him for 3 years.
You know, he teaches one way to do it, and that's the right way.
He always was with God and stuff. We always said prayers before, you know, every game or everything. So I like that a lot, and to bring everyone, you know, closer together and stuff, just in that.
In '84, the work ethic began paying dividends as Ellwood City posted their first winning record under Rankin.
Fabiani goes back to passers, pressure on, the ball is popped loose, it's going to be picked up by number 44, Rob Minto. Touchdown, Ellwood City!
And in 1985, the Wolverines tried on Cinderella's slipper and danced at the playoff ball for the first time since that fabled '44 season.
Billy Chapman left side. Inside the 15, inside the 10, Billy Chapman! Touchdown, Ellwood City!
In August of '86, the experts chose Ellwood City as the team to beat in the AA division of the WPIAL. Following 43 years of obscurity, the Wolverines were once again primed for center stage.
We knew we would have a good team, but we didn't know how good they would rank us. Because ever since junior high, we knew this would probably be our year, our senior year.
We really liked being ranked #1, and I think that made us really want to play harder to stay #1 throughout the year.
It got us more pumped up for the season because we knew that everyone was going to be pointing at us, and they better watch out whenever we started pointing back at them.
Pride and tradition were once again readily apparent in Ellwood City, from the strongest senior to the smallest sophomore. Jim Rankin had prepared the 1986 Wolverines to once again play like a champion today. In week 1, at home against Westinghouse, the Wolverines appeared equal to their marquee status. Kevin Jones scored from 21 yards out to pin the Wolverines to a 7-0 lead. But for the remainder of the first half, the Wolverines looked anything but unbeatable. In the third quarter, Rankin turns Billy Chapman and Kevin Jones loose on the Westinghouse defense. Chapman's 3-yard burst left Westinghouse fate in the lap of their offense and in the stranglehold of the ECD. Rynosports finished the scoring for Ellwood City as the Wolverines aced their first test with a 19-0 win over Westinghouse. In week number 2, Ellwood City welcomed Slippery Rock to Section 3AA. But the jocks from the Rock found the blue and white welcoming committee less than cordial. Jerry Ritzert punctuated Ellwood City's defensive domination with a 15-yard interception return for a touchdown. Meanwhile, Brian Assalto engineered the Wolverines' offense over, through, and around their overmatched counterparts. The Wolverines coasted to a 28-0 halftime lead. Billy Chapman added 2 more second-half scores as the Wolverines scrubbed the Rockets' AA launch 49-0. The Wolverines arrived in Mars in Week 3, just in time to watch the Planets dedicate their new arena. Nick Perry christened the Virgin Field with a 26-yard fumble return on the first play from scrimmage. Then the Wolverine defense gave out their housewarming gift to the Planets. In the second half, Mars' nightmare continued as Chris Ketterer engineered 3 more Wolverine scores, including 2 solo efforts. Threes are wild in Week 3 for Ellwood City as the Wolverines notch win number 3 and shutout number 3, 35-0. While Jim Rankin receives most of the credit for the Wolverines' ascent, his coaching staff has more than accented Rankin's quest for excellence. Assistant coaches Frank Kalau, Gary Lagana, Nick Lamenza, and Tony Petricola have transformed Rankin's team concept to a contemporary work of art. If assistant coaches construct stability, special teams build excitement. Captain Evan Westland, Rick Blaskowitz, Robbie Gatto, Frank Vicari, and Jeff Lindner put the thrill back in special team play. One special team player stepped to the forefront of the WPIAL. Reliable Sean Reese earned all-section honors for his reliable right toe. In week number 4, the unbeaten New Brighton Lions roared into Ellwood City. The pregame hype centered around the showdown of 2 of the section's premier running backs, Ellwood's Billy Chapman and New Brighton's Benny Haddix. But the matchup never materialized, as Ellwood City's swarming defense dealt Haddix a season's worth of punishment. Conversely, Chapman fared much better, as the senior fullback continually punctured New Brighton's front wall. Late in the first half, Ellwood City's relentless attack begins to wear down the Lions. Joe Roth's 3-yard run gives Ellwood City a 7-0 halftime lead. With Haddix contained, New Brighton takes to the air, and Dave DeMarco delivers with 2 long scoring strikes. Hill's 61-yard catch and run puts New Brighton on top 12-7, with just 2:38 remaining in the game. For the first time this season, Ellwood City found itself behind. And when Brian Asaldo went down with a shoulder injury, Jim Rankin pinned the Wolverines' fading hopes on the strong arm of Chris Ketterer.
Play action pass, Ketterer to the near side, hits Petrelli, and he goes out of bounds. Out of the field. He's a lefty, looks downfield, hits his man at the New Brighton 40. Chapman, he's on some running room as he gets it inside the 30.
And with time running out, Joe Roth found Scott Timmerman, and Timmerman made possibly the greatest catch in Wolverine history.
Pitch back to Roth. Here comes the halfback option pass. Has it been Timmerman? He catches it on the 2-yard line.
On the very next play, Billy Chapman powers into the end zone from 3 yards out, and Ellwood City survives with a heart-pounding 14-12 win over New Brighton. 2 years ago, the Wolverines entered Gypsy Glen and Beaver with a perfect 4-0 mark. Ellwood City exited with a 27-0 loss and a sudden jolt to reality. This year, the Wolverines returned determined to exercise the ghost of seasons past. And for over 3 quarters, these two undefeated powers engaged in a grim battle for survival. Beaver finally broke the deadlock in the 4th quarter on Dave Nichols' 6-yard run. With 2:44 remaining, Beaver uncharacteristically went for the kill on a 4th-and-1 play, but Nichols is stopped. Nick Perry's 3rd down pass to Bill Chapman covered 32 yards and sparked the Wolverines' slumping offense. On the next play, Chris Ketterer lofted a pass to a diving Rick Petrelli in the end zone, and dramatically, Ellwood City trailed by only a point. A tie would certainly keep the Wolverines unbeaten and in a perfect playoff position. But a win would snap a losing streak at Beaver, dating back to 1944.
I wanted to go for the win because you don't ever want the tie. It's always important to get the win.
Everybody on the sidelines was saying, Coach, you know, let's go for 2. Let's do our play.
I wanted to go for 2 because, you know, I knew we had Mountaineer special weight, and so I figured I was pretty confident.
After the touchdown, I wasn't sure about what we were going to do. When he said we were going to do that play, I felt real confident because there was no way they could have stopped that play. And we knew it was in our hands. You know, the only way we would not make it is because of us. I mean, there's no way they could have defended that.
Petrelli out wide on the far side. Here they go. Rock hits it. It's good for the extra point. And what they did, Chris Ketterer went over like he was yelling a signal. It's legal. Went over like he was yelling a signal out to his wide off Petrelli. The forward snap back to Rock. Is that a crazy play? And then they go. They get it for the extra point.
The play, affectionately called Mountaineer Special, caught the Bobcats off guard and sent Ellwood City home with a miraculous 8-7 come-from-behind win.
I was excited because, you know, they were shutting us down pretty much the whole game. And if I'd have missed that ball, I'd have killed myself maybe.
We were just pumped up. It's unexplainable. It's sort of like winning the championship.
We felt good after that game, but in a way, a lot of us felt that it should have never came down to that. You know, we felt that we should have beat them and beat them good, not just by a 2-point play.
Heavy rains turned Helling Stadium into a swamp in Week 6 against Center Township. The soggy conditions turned this year's drama into a comedy of errors. Bill Chapman's fumble set up Tom Gonzi's keeper, as center chills the Ellwood City Partisans by taking a 7-0 lead. Just when it seemed the Wolverines would go under for the third time, the center special teams parted, and Billy Chapman took advantage of the miraculous opening. Chapman's 90-yard kickoff return hydroplaned the Wolverines to a 7-7 tie. From that point on, the Ellwood City defense swarmed the Trojan attack. Displayed a flair for the dramatic with a last-minute flurry. Chris Ketterer hit Scott Timmerman for 15 yards. Then Kevin Jones for 13 more. And with 13 seconds remaining, the outcome rode on the rescue attempt of Sean Reese. Reese delivered from 26 yards out, and the Cardiac Kids again rode out the storm, 10-7. From the beginning, Jim Rankin combined a fighter's intensity with a relentless will to succeed. His aggressive nature spilled over to the Wolverine defensive core. Ellwood City broke opponents with a lean, mean body attack and a lethal knockout punch. The Wolverines rode a crest of emotion and buried offensive attacks in a sea of blue and white. The first wave came from the interior line. All-section tackle Chris Cortez, Brian Gibbons, and Bill Peretta anchored the front and shattered opponents on the rocks of a devastating rush. All-section performer Joe Roth teamed with Jerry Ritzer to form one of the most formidable linebacking tandems in Western Pennsylvania. Roth and Ritzer provided the thunder and lightning in Rankin's defensive storm. Sean Reese, Jay Patrick, and all-section defensive end Scott Timmerman stalked the edge of the deluge with all the intensity of a natural disaster. And the Wolverine secondary rained quickness and clout on ball carriers and wideouts alike. Chris Ketterer and Kevin Jones manned the corners, while Paul Portugallo and all-everything safety Nick Perry formed the final line of Wolverine defense. The forecast called for area offenses to stay indoors when on Ellwood City turf. The Wolverine defense was more than tough enough to ravage all offenses placed in its path.
I would walk 10 miles on my hands and knees. Ain't no doubt about it, baby, it's you I aim to please. I wrestle with a lion and a grizzly bear. It's my life, baby, but I don't care. Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough? Oh, you, baby, I would swim the sea. Nothing I'd do for you shovel and dirt and not even worry about getting hurt. Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough? Ain't that tough enough?
In week number 7, all eyes fell on Ellwood City as the Beaver Falls Tigers invaded Helling Stadium, looking to knock the Wolverines from the ranks of the unbeaten.
For this evening's action between the Ellwood City Wolverines and the Beaver Falls Tigers, live from Helling Stadium, Sean Reed.
Both Jim Rankin and Bob Blight had developed superior defensive units. Though different in design, both were equal in effect. The defensive struggle forged a scoreless deadlock at the half. Opportunity knocked for the Wolverines throughout the third quarter.
Tipped in the air, Portugal almost picking it off at the Wolverine 40-yard line. There's the old tip throw to the defensive back. Henderson goes to pass, rendering almost picked off by Chris Ketter. And Chris Ketter back, fumble to Staff. Simmel looking for room to go. Wolverine still diving for the football. Beaver Falls recovered.
But Ellwood City watched opportunity slip away and settled for a 37-yard field goal by Sean Reese.
It's long enough, and it is good. Sean Reese.
Trailing 3-0, Blyce turned to Sean Andreas to spark his sputtering offense. And immediately, Andreas made an impact by directing the Tigers to a 14-3 lead. Like they had done for 3 consecutive weeks, the Wolverines were determined to capture the final moments.
Let's see how the momentum goes. If the Wolverines hope to establish any kind of momentum, they're going to have to do it in this drive. To the Wolverine 40-yard line, and will be close to another Wolverine first down. Ketterer looks, throws. Portugal will make the catch, but he in or was he out? He was in. The catch was...
But on this evening, the ghost of Ellwood City's past returned, wearing the orange and black of the Beaver Falls Tigers. As the Wolverines tasted defeat for the first time in 1986.
Overall, looking at the season, we knew we were still in good position to go to the playoffs and everything.
We were pretty much disappointed after the game, but we had the 4 tough games in a row. Coach Rankin said it was all right. You know, we got 3 of the 4. That's at least what we wanted to do. So we just had to regroup and go on from there.
It was a tough loss, but we knew we had a lot of games left and we could still come back.
We were disappointed when we lost, but we just shook it off, went out to practice that next week, and we just practiced just as hard.
Jim Rankin prescribed the perfect cure for his ailing offense the following week at Freedom. On their first possession, Chris Ketterer turned the corner for a 34-yard touchdown and a 7-0 lead. Ellwood City never looked back as they racked up 326 yards in total offense. into the act as Joe Roth turns an errant pitch into 6 more points. It's the Wolverines returning to form with a healthy 41-0 pounding of Freedom. The prescription called for more of the same in week number 9 against Quaker Valley, as Bill Chapman bulls his way into the end zone to give the Wolverines a 6-0 second quarter lead. But the upstart Quaker shocked Ellwood City by returning the favor. The Wolverines restored order in the second half as Chapman scores twice from in close. Chris Getter displays his versatility, first picking off an errant Quaker Valley toss, then tossing a perfect 34-yarder to Kevin Jones for a Wolverine score. As the Wolverines step closer to the section crown with a 28-7 win over Quaker Valley. The 1986 version of the Ellwood City-Riverside rivalry had all the makings of a classic confrontation. Last season, the Panthers clinched the section title by defeating the Wolverines. This year, Ellwood City had a chance to make amends in what would be Coach Carl Flory's final game as a head coach. Ellwood City's defense seized the opportunity and forced the Panthers into early mistakes. Took a 3-0 lead on Sean Reese's 23-yard field goal. In the second quarter, Ellwood's offense began to click on all cylinders. Chris Ketterer's 7-yard touchdown pass to Sean Reese gave the Wolverines a comfortable 16-0 lead. With little more than pride on the line, the defending champions buckled their chin straps and prepared to attack. But waiting for them stood their heir apparent. The Panthers' frenzied burst had withered as quickly as it had flared. On their first possession of the second half, the Wolverines settled the issue. Preserving the shutout was all that remained. As Ellwood City clinched the section crown with a sweet 23-0 win over arch rival Riverside.
First of all, we were very excited because we just won the championship, and plus we shut them out and they didn't score. And so we were really happy that that happened like the way it did.
It's always good to pound Riverside when they're your rival like that. And then first time we ever won the sections, it really felt good.
For so many years before, we were always been getting beat by Riverside, especially Riverside, because you got to go the whole year listening to them, and it was just a sweet victory beating them like that.
That was the best that I think we've felt all year.
Ellwood City's climb to the top paralleled the rise of its offense. Jim Rankin's intricate offensive design functioned on precise patterns, combining a ground attack that pounded opponents tackle to tackle with a short, concise passing game that opened up every avenue available. Rankin enjoyed the luxury of having two outstanding quarterbacks in seasoned veteran Brian Isaldo and junior phenom Chris Ketterer. Isaldo steadied the offense, blending experience with a blue-collar desire to be the best. Ketterer stepped into the spotlight in mid-season. The rifle-armed quarterback exploited opponents both through the air and on the ground. Ketterer displayed a flair for the moment, capturing the hearts of Ellwood City faithful when ball games were held in the balance. All-conference tight end Scott Timmerman anchored a talented receiving corps. Timmerman relied on sure hands and an uncanny knack for finding the seam in opposing defenses. Rick Petrelli and Paul Portugallo complimented Timmerman from the wideout position. The duo specialized in possession receptions and often stood out when the Wolverines needed them most. Rankin's offensive wheel turned on the spokes of a brutal rushing attack. Ellwood City's front wall, a machine well-oiled with experience, held sway in the trenches. Chris Cortez, Jerry Ritzer, Bill Peretta, Brian Gibbons, Jim DeCaria, Chris Donoveski, and Mike Newpower established a pattern of control that paved the way for over 2,000 yards on the ground. The offensive line pried open the holes, which John DeLuca, Dave Hall, and Joe Roth popped through for sizable gains. Kevin Jones provided the perfect complement to Rankin's power attack. Jones combined grace, speed, and agility in garnering over 600 yards on the ground. In 1984, Jim Rankin introduced a tiny sophomore running back to section opponents. The compact fullback became a full-fledged star in 1985. This year, the Raging Bull continued to carry most of the burden of Ellwood City's offensive attack. Bill Chapman epitomizes Ellwood City's hard-nosed style, a pounding pulse of bruising power that few defensive designs could stop. The spiritual leader of the Wolverines once again rushed for over 1,000 yards and for the second time received all section honors. His accomplishments have made him one of the most potent offensive threats ever to wear the blue and white of the In 1985, Ellwood City's playoff experience was quick and painful. But this year, the Wolverines opened their championship quest in the friendly confines of Helling Stadium with a renewed confidence. Confidence, however, could not stop East Allegheny in the first half. the Wolverines found themselves on the short end of a 6-0 halftime deficit. In the second half, Nick Perry turned Ellwood City's fortunes with a key interception. The Wolverines used the turnover as a catalyst to a beautifully executed 52-yard drive. Chris Ketterer optioned his way into the end zone and to a 7-6 lead. Slowly but steadily, East Allegheny began to wither under the ever-tightening Wolverine vice. Frank Vicari, filling in for the injured Joe Roth, intercepted another errant pass that set up Ellwood City's final drive. On offense, Bill Chapman and Kevin Jones summoned a career worth of courage to lead the Wolverines on a painful march. Ellwood City bruised their way into the semifinals with a hard-fought 14-6 win over East Allegheny.
Like all the other games before, we were down, but we just never gave up, and we really wanted to win it for Joe. We just kept plugging away, and in the second half, we were in shape, and they died out. We beat them.
A lot of people felt that without Joe, we wouldn't have been able to win. And we proved again that we can come back if somebody that important on our team gets hurt.
It was the biggest win, I think, of the year because, I think they were the best team we played all year, because they had us outsized and everything. And after that game, we thought we were going to go to the Three Rivers. We didn't think we were going to be stopped.
Only one obstacle stood in the way of Ellwood City and a date with destiny. Unbeaten Beth Center. Safety Nick Perry once again inspired the Wolverines with an interception. 4 plays later, John DeLuca raced 44 yards down the right sideline to give Ellwood City a 7-0 lead. But the Bulldogs controlled the second quarter and ultimately the game, as Mike Sanders scored twice before intermission. Came out in the second half with a courageous heart and a will to win. All the courage in the world could not save the Wolverines. As the fourth quarter waned, so did Ellwood City. Jody Conti decided matters with a 5-yard touchdown run. And Ellwood City's championship dream ended on the doorstep of Three Rivers Stadium.
Right after the game, it was hard to believe that we lost because, all year we've been getting last-second wins, last-second comebacks. And during most of, the fourth quarter, we just thought that we were going to come back, We were waiting for it to happen. Never got the big play after the game. Everybody was down.
Right after the game, I don't think any of us really felt anything because we were just, all numb because, we were that close. And I think we were just shocked.
It really hurt for a couple weeks after that because we don't make a few mistakes and we're in the championship. We really felt that was our destiny.
Despite the playoff loss, the victory flag of the 1986 Wolverines will forever wave triumphantly in the eyes of the Ellwood City faithful.
We were very close, and we still are. And it's just when you go out to play, like, you'll do anything for them because you know that they're going to do it for you when they get their chance on the field.
We all, kept it close, and especially in football season. So, we had a real good team, and we were real close.
Because for so many years, Ellwood didn't have a very good football team. And it was nice for a change, and I think the community liked it, and everybody liked it, and that brought us all closer together.
I thought we did pretty good. Everyone wanted us to win. We all wanted to win the championship, but looking at it now, we did good. We were happy with it.
1986 was a year when Ellwood City washed away the memories of over 40 years of frustration. The Wolverines set their sights on a section crown, and nothing less could possibly satisfy their quest. Coach Jim Rankin and the Ellwood City Wolverines laid the groundwork for a successful campaign on words like emotion, tradition, dedication, determination, and above all, desire. Desire to overcome long odds. Desire to sweat and strive and sacrifice. Desire to be the best. 1986, the year Ellwood City looked at their opponents from atop the MAC. 1986, the year the community, the students, and the Ellwood City Wolverines played like champions.
Run, pitch back, second man boost, ball is bubble, pops into the arms of Perry. He's going to go all the way for a Wolverine touchdown, and a flag is on the ground. It's probably...
We played as a team, and we lost as a team, and we won as a team. And that's just the way we did things.
Quarterback comes down, play action pass, center a look, center goes in the end zone. Touchdown for Troy! Oh my, what a play!
Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gone? Where's the streetwise herd that leads to fight the rising odds? Isn't there a white knight upon a fiery steed? Late at night I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's gotta be sure and he's gotta be soon and he's gotta be larger than life. Larger than life. Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy, somewhere just beyond my reach, there's someone reaching back for me. Racing on the thunder and rising with the heat. It's gonna take a Superman to sweep me off my feet. I'm a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I'm a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. He's gotta be sure and he's gotta be soon and he's gotta be larger than life. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night.
Pitch back to Rod. Here comes the halfback option pass. Has it been Zimmerman. He catches it on the 2-yard line. Oh my!
Like Kevin Jones said after we lost the best center game, everybody loved each other on the team, just like one big family.
Straight ahead off Chapman. Balls to play a touchdown. Wolverines. They're going to win this ball game.
It was a great year, pretty much of a dream season. It would have been a lot better if we would have went all the way, but something nobody else ever did in Ellwood City history. We'll be remembered for that.
We set out to do two things. We set out to win our conference, and we set out to win the WPIL championship. and we did one of them, and we came very close to winning the championship.
Well, we've all played together for a real long time. We're all just real good friends. Like when we go out, we're always together. It's like we like 'em, we like everybody because we're all friends.
I just like to thank my coaches, and I like to wish the next year's team good luck.